Hello everybody and welcome to our Game 3 between two huge names in Company of Heroes 2 on another map made by White Flash Reborn. Playing on the south side of Crossroads as the USF, it is going to be Jove. His opponent coming down from the north, playing again as the austere, it is Jesulin. Jesulin having just won the last game as USF, playing very well. In fact, now we saw Jesulin in both games 1 and 2 dive in with a commander pick right from the start and try to use this really aggressive early game strategy, a lot of close range DPS units, getting as far up the field as possible. In game 1 that really didn't work, in game 2 it did work. But this time Jesulin has decided to play a little bit safer. He's gone into his tier 1 to bring out some grenadiers. And this time it's Jove who goes for the early commander pick. This time he's gone for Mechanized Company. This was the commander Jesulin picked in the previous game. Are we going to see the same kind of strategy? It looks like the same build so far. WC51 is going to be out before the 2-minute mark. And so far Jove is not looking to push the lines here. He's actually just wanting to take his own fuel. Positioning of this MG42 upon first sight of the rifleman is crucial. And got to use the line of sight here to make sure he doesn't take suppression. Really, the echelon should be trying to get around to the back of this MG42. It's actually very good from Jove. He's harassing the pioneers. He's forced to change a position from the MG42. And now we just need to see a successful flank with both of these riflemen. In fact, Jove is just going to walk in the other direction. That's a really nice early game, I'd say, from Jove. Even though Jesulin has taken the right-hand side, it's probably not the best place for him to be fighting overall. To give away the western side of this map, actually I think that's where US probably has a bit of advantage. There's a few more kind of close range areas where the riflemen will definitely be winning engagements if they come up against the grenadiers. So it'll be harder to take back that western side of the map, I think. That being said though, Jesulin is definitely in the lead at the start of the game. Loads of strategic points, which to be honest I think we talk about this a lot, occasionally in Company of Heroes. The strategic points are probably worth more than diving on top of the single fuel points, because each strategic point captures much faster. I think like double the speed of a high resource point, and you're already getting 3 fuel plus munitions. 2 of those captured at the same time as a single fuel is going to get you more resources in. I think Jesulin is playing that strategy. He's going for the strategic points because it's going to mean if Jove dives on the high resource point, ultimately he's going to lose out. It's good from Jesulin. He knows he's not going to win that engagement, doesn't even want to lose the models. And I think now he's coming back to just try and defend his fuel. I love having casting debates on my own because no one can argue with me. It's amazing. No one can tell me I'm wrong. Still waiting for that commander pick from Jesulin. And I think here Lieutenant is going to try and figure out where the MG42 is and try to flank it. Both buildings occupied in the center. I'm interested to see Jove doing this because he's trying to figure out the MG42 position. He's flanking from the north with the echelons. The WC51 is just trying to pick off the occasional model in the center. You see Jesulin is just going for the scout car. He has gone battle phase 1 now and built the tier 2 unit, tier 2 base structure, sorry. So Jesulin always got that little bit of a stack in terms of his resources. We've seen this in every single game where he's been floating the manpower. And we can see why, of course. That's because he wants to go for units outside of the... out of the tier 2 very quickly. And a scout car and assault grenadiers. Can be very effective.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Well, Jesulin needs to be careful when he decides to dive units. In game 1, it was Jove who went for heavy cavalry commander and had the defenses out for mines straight away. There's a bazooka on this lieutenant. The scout car's very lucky to get away before it reloaded. Jove's answer to seeing the scout car on the field is going to be to go for the Stuart.
We're losing a capture point.
We now have access to mortar half-tracks for mobile indirect fire.
Okay, there's the commander pick from Jesulin. You heard it. Spearhead Doctrine. Tiger Tank in the late game still, but mortar half-track. And I've got to be honest, I haven't seen this unit in any competitive game for 2 years at least. But it's actually a very beneficial unit to have. Being able to use the mortar, use the flame barrage as well, which I think is coming down at the moment. Incendiary on the center building. Gonna clear that 50 cal out. Now the question right now is, how is Jesulin gonna get his AT? Are we gonna see Shreks on the Panzer Grenadiers? Or are we waiting for an AT? A Pack 40.
Crew ready. A capture point is being overrun. Ready. Send orders.
Spoke about the WC-51 in the last game. Such a great unit, able to cap like this. It has marked targets, got the ability to give some indirect fire. When the veterancy kicks in. Sorry, when the battalion command post kicks in. It's a very versatile utility unit. Now here's the AT solution. Shreks on the Panzer Grenadiers. There is an AT gun coming out for Jesulin as well. That goes to show you actually that Jesulin might be feeling a little bit pushed right now. He's going to bring out the Shreks as well as the pack gun. That means he's worried about the mobile units that Jove has on the field.
Is ready for orders. The enemy is taking our territory.
And Scout Car's going to want to go for the WC-51, but Lieutenant in a really good position actually to stop the Scout Car from coming over from the right-hand side of the map. Whether or not that's intentional by Jove, not 100% sure, but if he is using the Lieutenant as a way of stopping the Scout Car responding to the WC-51, then that's actually very good unit positioning play from him. Piercing rounds from the 50 cal there. Again, trying to push away the scout car. I think maybe seeing more incendiary mortar. That building is very low health. Jove needs to have spotted this, really.
The enemy has driven a wedge in our lines.
Don't know whether he thinks that thinks that it's got more time in that building than he actually has. Oh, it did actually go down! Oh, I didn't think it was going to go down that quickly, but that's the 50 cal squad down to the mortar. Jove had plenty of time to react and didn't use it. Jesulin's going to be happy with that. Still no healing in the base for Jesulin. Of course, Jove does have healing, but he's a squad down now. Come on, do we see the Shreks? Well, I think this is looking to be the start of that long, even game we were talking about. Both players had incredible stomps in game 1 and 2. Now the field is a little more even. I think we're just about to see healing go up in the base for Jesulin. Jove has brought out a mortar of his own, which I think is an interesting choice. He might be looking to drop smoke on top of the pack gun. There's a lot going on here at the moment. The fuel's being contested by the light vehicles. Jove is trying to push his way up onto the right-hand side, and I think with a successful flank here of the riflemen over the strategic point, he's managed to push all of Jesulin's infantry forces off of the right-hand side of the map. The mortar half-track is trying to deal with the fresh US mortar that's just arrived on the field. I'm sure this Stuart is gunning for a flanking opportunity, but Jesulin, I think, is just setting up for that now, in case it happens.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Don't cross the beams! Did that really just happen? That was really unfortunate for Jesulin. Both of the Shreks kind of somehow crossed around the Stuart. Jesulin took a bit of a battering on the right-hand side of the map there, so he's going to start to lock down the left-hand side. I think this is a sensible thing to do at this stage. Just a lot of stuff that isn't happening for Jesulin, and he's not playing badly at all. I think he's just been a little bit unlucky there. Shreks are not the most accurate tool in the world. Really important suppression there is going to allow the Grenadiers to get out. See the mortar half-track wants to deal with the 50 cal. Jesulin goes for the sniper at this moment, and this is a really interesting pick. The sniper is quite high maintenance, and I'm not sure that Jesulin has been keeping up with a lot of the units that he has on the field at the moment. I think the mortar half-track is about to take a snare, but there is enough defense there.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Jesulin trying to catch Jove off guard with a bundle grenade. I think he's actually got it. That should be a squad wipe, surely. Just got to hop in the building and finish that. That's so unfortunate if that gets away. Oh, it's going to drop the bazooka. No, I don't know that Jesulin has anything near enough to grab hold of that, but same situation for Jove. So it looks like Jesulin is going to get himself an extra bit of anti-tank, and that's desperately needed. Now, Pioneers on the field, they do have the Minesweeper upgrade, and if you see this, it normally means your opponent is planting mines themselves. Let's see if Jesulin has planted anything that we've maybe missed. Not this time around.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Well, Jove is just bringing out his first unit from tier 3. It looks like he's going for an easy 8 Sherman. Remember, of course, Jesulin does have the late game Tiger, and On a map like Crossroads, the Tiger's actually very good because you can support it easy. As long as you have infantry on the front lines and they do the spotting, the Tiger has fantastic range when you've got units to spot for it. It only gets better with veterancy. The Tiger is a great tank to use if you're prepared to play it with support units. It's not good to just run around the map on its own.
Our industry grows to support us. Taking infantry fire.
But,
Enemy forces are
I
securing
really like
our
this game
territory.
from Jesulin as it stands at the moment. Got 2 Shreks, a bazooka on his grenadiers, 80 gun. Well, that's the Easy 8 revealed. And it's going to destroy a green cover wall that both the Grenadiers and the Panzer Grenadiers have been using to help hold the middle VP. With that gone though, there are less shot blockers for the AT guns, so equally the Easy 8 does have to be careful. Always got to be careful when you clear up all of these shot blockers on the map. It's only going to make the Axis AT more powerful. Jove, of course, does have the mortar, so always potential for smoke to be dropped, and then the light vehicle is going in to do some damage. I think that's probably what Jove's going to do, just to try and just whittle away some manpower from Jesulin over time. I guess there's no support at all on the left side of the map, and Jesulin, who doesn't actually have a high resource fuel point, has just left that completely on its own to be capped. He's also going to lose the VP as well. WC-51 spots the sniper. The scout car's going to retaliate here. I think the scout car's going to get it. It'll be a big loss if it does. Jesulin... Oh! That is so unfortunate for Jesulin. Taking down the WC-51. It's Vet 3. And if anything, I think just taking down the WC-51 to make sure that Mark Target isn't available for Jove. When the Tiger comes out, you don't want it being stunted with Mark Target and not able to push. Doesn't look like Jesulin is going for the Tiger after all. He's building tier 3. That is a great play from the Panzer Grenadiers. They get an amazing hit on the Easy 8. Wiping that first unit down from the major tier. That really is huge for Jesulin. And Jove is now going to have to, I imagine, build another one. That's going to put him seriously on the back foot. Jesulin's going to bring out the Panzer IV. I actually feel like going for the Panzer IV was a bit of a mistake here. I think Jesulin probably thought he's in a worse position than he actually is, but the VPs aren't that far off. Jove hasn't had that much fuel above him. So the fact that Jesulin is going to be bringing out a Panzer IV and has no fuel in the reserves might actually, in the end, be more beneficial for Jove. This time Jove's going to go for a Jackson. And I can definitely see why Jove is going to go for the Jackson. Now, if the Panzer IV gets spotted before the Jackson builds, I expect the Jove will probably cancel this. So hopefully Jesulin doesn't reveal this unit too early. This happened in the last game with the with Jove actually changing his teching once Jesulin revealed a unit slightly too early, and I think we might actually see it here. I would expect Jove to cancel the Jackson. Nope, not quite. Looks like it's going to be... It's going to arrive. Well, all Jesulin has to do here. He's got a great army. Really, he's just got to take the 2 VPs, wall the engagements out to the center of the map. Here's the Jackson on that first shot. It's huge. Jesulin reacts to it very quickly. Sniper just trying to pick away the occasional model. I think what's really nice is that Jesulin is confident to play aggressive with Austere. And it's not an easy thing to do because the squad sizes are smaller, so when you do lose those models, you want to hit the retreat button faster. You know, USF, I think, traditionally has always had like a little bit of an advantage over Austere. But even when these units are low health, Jesulin has been confident to walk into engagements. He's been really good on the retreat timing. He knows when he's going to win, when he's not going to win. And funnily enough, actually, Jesulin's going to build another squad of pioneers.
Pioneers ready for assignment.
It's a little bit cheeky of Jesulin trying to use fragmentation bombs, thinking that Jove wouldn't spot that, but obviously Jove would. Really, the fragmentation bombs, I think they're most effective on vehicles. I think they still give a little bit of a stun for a vehicle hit.
Enemy forces are securing
So with the
our
Jackson on the
territory.
field, 2 pioneers we were saying before should be pretty good at keeping the Panzer IV repaired, fighting, pulling back. We just really don't want to see the Jackson getting free veterancy. Taking shots like this is beautiful. The Jackson is it's actually firing through the sight blocker. Just want to note as well, Jove brought out a mortar half track of his own. There's a real indirect fire game going on here. It's unusual because the way I'm seeing it at the moment, there isn't that much to take down, but actually Jove is going to be using phosphorus rounds. White phosphorus is actually really good, especially when units have to retreat through like this. They're slowed, the health drops down really fast, and that's actually going to help the riflemen maybe chase down on the retreat. It's a really good unit to use if you're trying to force your opponent to retreat and then chase units down. Whether or not Jove's going to be able to use it that way is a different story.
German forces tracking on 300 points. Field promotion! Scouts are sniffing around our asses. Tactical point being captured.
Oh, you see this Jackson is trying to ground attack through the Hetero. Just looking to try and get the mortar. Jesulin is confident enough, I think, just to stay
The
there.
enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Actually got a hit that time. Jesulin's going to have to back off. It's a bit risky. This is a Vet 2 scout car. It has higher scout bonuses. Going to get the WC-51. That's actually a good pick.
Vehicle just got destroyed.
If he gets away with that, it's a good engagement for Jesulin. Now, with the Vet 2 scout car, I actually really like the idea of this. Vet 2 scout cars are very large sight range. Great for a map like Crossroads. The AT guns are going to have complete control against vehicles if that scout car is in the center of the map. Plus, with the potential of a late game Tiger, then it would mean that the Tiger's always going to be firing at its max range. Definitely pin this game down as Jesulin's to lose at the moment. Jove is going to struggle to come back from this.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
This is tough. Of course, you get a sense of how important the Jackson is right now. You see that the bazookas there are even bouncing off of the medium vehicle, the Panzer IV.
Frag grenades now available for action.
When and if the Tiger does come out, bazookas are going to be very ineffective. The Jackson's going to be a key player here.
Ready, set. Wait the gun. They're on the
Good reactions on the Stuart. Doesn't want to lose it to the AT then. Direct artillery from the Major there, trying to clear away the MG42. Good reactions from Jesulin, actually.
We're losing a capture point.
One of the best things that Jesulin can do right now is just keep being active in Jove's territory. Keep extending on the front line. That's a great bundle grenade. But the more time Jove has to spend clearing these wandering units in his own territory, the less time he's going to be able to spend pushing the VPs. Of course, it's just giving Jesulin more time to sit on his resources, tech up a bit.
The enemy is taking our territory.
The echelons here with a smoke discharger. Jove wants to try and get control of the center VP. Not confident to do it with the echelons. I think actually once Jove has an idea of where the Panzer IV is, he's just going to spot it there. The Jackson should be going in and trying to deal with that unit. Not sure what happened to that squad actually. A lot of models dropped very quickly. Vet 3 on the scout car now. Scout car's having a great game. Only 11 kills, but it's been very, very useful. The Grenadiers that picked up the bazooka at the start of the game. And this is how bad it is when you lose that bazooka. Now the Grenadiers are actually able to keep the Stuart away from the front lines. It's going to be a dead Pioneer squad. Jesulin decapping the strategic point, cutting Jove off from the resources he has on the right hand side. Jove still has a lot of room in his pop cap to bring out some more vehicles. He's going to be running out of time though. Jesulin, of course, is on the climb up to Tiger. I believe he's got the pop cap for it, so we should be seeing the Tiger to come out and finish this amazing build from Jesulin.
Attempting to steal our sector. Reconnaissance flight set to go. Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Well, with the right support, I would safely say at this point, Jesulin should have this game in the bag. Jove is going to be building an easy 8. He has got the Jackson for high penetration from the front. I'm actually really surprised that we haven't seen the vehicle crew from the Stuart jump into the Jackson tank yet, because I think that would give the Jackson Vet 1 and give the Jackson access to its HVAP rounds, which would probably be the most effective thing against the Tiger right now.
Welcome to the Death Factory, boys. Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
Jesulin was very careless with his Tiger in a previous game. Seems to think that when he has this is kind of like the be-all and end-all. I think we just saw the change of crew, or perhaps it just naturally got veterancy then. Either way, Jackson on Vet 1 now, that's essential.
A capture point is under attack.
we going to see any magic here? Rear armor on the Panzer IV. Jesulin's got to correct that.
Armor inbound. We're losing a capture
Both
point.
armies here are so good in terms of their veterancy. We've got all those kind of late game buffs on the units, all of the late game abilities at hand available to be used. Vet 3 mortar half track, Vet 3 scout car, and you can see the vision on the scout car here, absolutely huge. It can see all the way down to the strategic point south. Such an important unit, really. Bad position for the Jackson. Could take 2 Shreks, potentially the bazooka. Manages to get away from that in time.
Capture point is under attack.
Oh, this is a really good opportunity for the Sherman tank to get in there. There's smoke, but he can ground attack. The ground attack misses. Now he's up against the Tiger. We did just hear that a light vehicle went down for Jove. I think that was the mortar half track. Jove is very slowly losing grip of his army. We're starting to see those squad wipes come in now. Just hasn't been able to find a decent flanking route. Great from Jove though to be jumping on the VPs at these times. He's actually still in the lead in terms of VPs, so he's still got a lot of time to try and rectify this situation. One of the Pioneer squads we saw go down earlier, so the Tiger does have a long time to repair now. Plus there is also the Panzer IV to worry about. I think Jove's going to be scratching his head a little bit here and wondering how he's going to get past this. He has a couple of options, but not much in the way of indirect fire. He's going to have to rely now on his mortar and the Major's indirect fire if he's going to try and throw the position of the enemy AT and MG gun away. He has got access to combined arms, so he could try to brute force his way through the center with the Jackson. Sniper's under a bit of duress there. The mortar half-track has actually done a lot of work in this game. 15 kills. Of course, one of those was a squad wipe of the 50 cal earlier on in the game. It's done great at moving the mortar positions, great at keeping units from getting on top of the VP, so Jesulin's going to be very happy with that choice. Okay, well I'm guessing this is perhaps from the Major. This is the fake artillery trying to stop Jesulin from capping. And Jesulin either didn't notice or didn't take the bait. I think now is the real artillery. This time Jesulin is going to clear out for it.
Tank support is here. Sherman ready.
Another 76mm Sherman coming out. Apologize for calling these easy 8s today. Messed up by the image for that. They are actually 76mm Shermans. Slightly different unit. The Major has some decent sight here as well. Major's going to be essential for units progressing up the map. Really, really important. You see the Tiger there actually bouncing shells from the Jackson. That Jackson has got to get penetrating hits to build that veterancy up. Here's an airstrike. It's fragmentation bombs. It's coming in on the position of the Jackson. And it looks like the Tiger's ready to strike if this goes in. It just misses the Jackson, but it does take down the 50 cal. Stuart is stunned. Plane nearly, nearly landed on top of the half track. That would have been fun. That would have been a nice turnaround for Jove. One thing we're not seeing at the moment, we're not seeing enough activity with the Jackson. The Jackson really needs to be there when these engagements kick off. In fact, it's coming in now. And there, Vet 2. That's beautiful. That was a huge hit. Bazooka here means there could be a snare from the Grenadiers, but Jove is on top of it. Jackson is the perfect unit to keep the Tiger away. Here's a little bit of a dive though from Jove. The Tiger is weak and this is the moment. Jove trying to get on top of the mortar half track. Tiger's going to miss its first shot. The Vet 3 half track goes down. Look at this. The Jackson's ready. The AT gun's not prepared for this. And I think Jesulin's managed to get the Tiger far enough away that Jove won't get away with any more than that. This is a great push. He's also A-moving the AT gun to make sure that that goes down. Jesulin's going to have to build another one immediately. And Jove, by the way, was using combined arms during that engagement, so this was the brute force option we were talking about before. Jove is using it, and using it to great effect. Jesulin retreats here, it's going to be chaos. Oh, this was really a great move from Jove. You just have a look at the map control he's taken from this. It is huge. Jesulin is having to come out around his base. He can still reinforce whilst outside of the base, fortunately. Jackson, you just see it there firing away at the Tiger. He's going to start taking shots from the AT gun. Jackson cannot go down. Better to retreat from this position and work these moves on Jesulin again. Rather than try to overcommit and lose the Jackson. It's actually looking to be a really good game. Jove has always managed to keep hold of the VP lead in this game. It's been very close. Jesulin's nearly tipped it a couple of times, but hasn't actually managed to have the VP lead, I think, at all in the game so far. And just looking at Jesulin now, I mean, he is pop-capped. He can't really change his composition here. It's not like he can bring out any different units. Jove, on the other hand, he can. He can respond to whatever Jesulin has left. And I think that gives Jove a little bit of an advantage in the counter builds. Tiger though, Veterancy 1. Second Veterancy is going to improve the accuracy. Veterancy 3 is fearsome. And if the game does drag out, Tiger's going to be one of those game-winning units. We've seen Jesulin use it before. He used it in a great game against Helping Hands in GCS 2 last year.
The enemy is taking our territory. Enemy forces are securing our territory. Our supply lines.
got eyes on that Tiger. HVAP rounds have been activated. Jesulin knows that he's got to get out of there. Getting a snare on the Tiger would be the end of that Tiger for sure. This is a really hot match. I actually really like this. There's a lot going on here at the moment. 80 gun. Dealing with the 76mm on that side. The rifleman dive in, I think, for the snare. They didn't manage to get it. Tiger on the left. There's no Jackson there, so the Tiger just willing to keep picking up the veterancy, landing penetrating shots on his opponent. Stuart on Vet 3. Now, the Stuart does have late game potential in a funny kind of way. It's got some really good abilities that could slow the Tiger down, or perhaps even stunt its position so that the Jackson could get finishing kills. We might see a dive on the Tiger with utilization of the Stuart. But I love the way that Jove is just always putting pressure on Jesulin. There isn't a moment where Jove isn't doing something, whether it's just picking models off and making sure that something has to retreat, or making sure all of his tanks are repaired to full health. The second Jackson in the build. It's a great bundle grenade on this Vet 3 mortar. Squad is going to go down.
Gun crew just got wiped out.
2 Jacksons to me suggest that we're going to see a dive, perhaps with combined arms on the left-hand side. There's going to be an interesting closure to this game. Tiger just picks up veterancy 2.
Tank destroyer is ready for action.
Jove has a really fearsome mechanized army. Can't see it at the moment because he's jumped out of some of the tanks to repair, but actually when you look at his composition, he has the 2 Sherman 76mm, 2 Jacksons, the Stuart. If he dives, I really can't see how he wouldn't be able to wipe the Tiger. Of course, at this time, if the Tiger does go down, Jesulin's going to be able to afford a new one. Jove has not been quick enough to deal with the Tiger, and it would get called out again immediately.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Major artillery in the center. I think that means Jove is about to go again. Jacksons are up at the front, making sure that the Tiger's kept away. 76mm Sherman on the right. It's ready for a flank. Jove making his move in on the center VP. It's chaos. There is so much indirect fire coming on into the map with this push. The infantry are pushing around. I think they're probably going to want to try and get a snare on this Panzer IV if they can. There comes the hit from the 76mm. A snare now would be successful. Smoke is popped. Jesulin does get snared. Jove did manage to get that off in time. Vet 3 Panzer IV at the moment, by the way, getting blocked by his own AT gun. Losing this unit would be pretty huge. The Jackson Vet 3 gonna get that. Now I would say Jove has a pretty open area of the map that he can continue to push in. The Stuart is even harassing the right side of Jesulin's base. Jesulin is just not being active enough in this game. He's almost stopped pushing the map. He's allowed Jove to get to this position where he's got the 2 Jacksons. That was the Grenadier squad which had the bazooka, so that's a Really important. A really important kill for Jove. The bunker on the right side of the base has gone down. Jove is now free to drive in there or walk in there if he wants to.
We are losing a sector.
Jesulin has really struggled with this later stage of the game. He's just brought out a Stug 3, which will help a little bit. But the Jacksons are too strong now. They just haven't been dealt with for such a long time. They're too strong. Combined Arms is also too strong with this composition.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
This could be a great pickup from the Stuart. That is a huge pickup from the Stuart. Having the Stuart on the right-hand side just to pick off those units seriously pays off as more of the anti-tank gets taken down. The Jacksons, I think, have every right to just roll up onto the map now. Jove could be moving in with the Jacksons here. I don't know why he's being so laid back about this. Did that hit? Wow! Super long range hit there from the Jackson. Now really the AT gun and the Stug need to hold those Jacksons off whilst the Tiger repairs. We still have that Vet 3 scout car. The Vet 3 scout car is actually one of the keys to having the Stug and the AT gun hold the Jacksons off, because it's going to give them a range above what the Jacksons have.
Stormless is ready for use.
Second one. Jesulin's got a bit of a plan here, I think. You can see the Faust here. Jesulin, of course, hits that Faust as soon as the AT gun penetrates. Where is the Faust? I think the model died that was Fausting. Super unfortunate.
Is under attack.
This to me is brilliant. This is super annoying. Jove here is going to try and get the healing capabilities of Jesulin down by taking down the bunker in base. Might have just left himself open to losing the Stuart though. Actually, this seemed a little bit obvious. Oh, vision was blocked. It's perfect timing. The Stuart's going to get away with that engagement. Jesulin's Tiger also left wide open. He's going to have to retreat through this point. So fortunate that the Jacksons weren't there.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Here they come. Vet 3 on that AT gun. Beautiful. Jove is going for Jesulin where it hurts right now. Jesulin has about 100 VPs down against Jove. Jove is going to try and get a triple cap, and that's going to make the VPs drop 0.75 VPs per second. It's going to make considerably less time for Jesulin to play. Here comes a great AT grenade from the rifleman. The Jacksons immediately spring into action. This is the chance to get the Tiger down. What is happening with the Stugs? Smoke has popped. The Stug takes a little bit of a deflective blow, and that probably just saves the Tiger from going down. An essential smoke pop there, really. Stug E goes down to the Zooks from the echelons. Another Stug 3, sorry. Down in the center to the Jacksons and the Sherman 76mm.
The enemy is attempting to steal our
Jesulin
sector.
absolutely had this game. From about 20 minutes in, he definitely had this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Stuart could go in right now and finish off that Tiger.
Contact.
Somehow, Jove has just been the more aggressive force on the map.
Are in a dangerous situation. 100 points remaining.
No, really, with the Vet 3 AT gun, we could see target weak point to stun that tank, but Jesulin has not used it once. And it's such a shame. There's been so many opportunities to stun the vehicles, let the Tiger get to work. It just hasn't been used. This Tiger is now Vet 3, by the way. Now, Vet 3 is really where you want the Tiger. If you can have vision from the scout car or even the Pioneers, I'd actually say that the Tiger is now capable of countering the Jacksons again.
Seizing a sector.
Provided that it doesn't do anything stupid here, which it nearly is about to. That's the kind of power you want to see from the Tiger. That's what it's good at. The rate of fire is going to be increased. The turret rotation's increased.
We have 50 points remaining.
The speed is increased. And now you actually see Jesulin feeling a little bit more confident. Can he get that final shot off with the Stug 3?
The Stormgeschütz is ready for use.
He tries it. Oh, Jesulin's confident. That's it. I think the Tiger's going to go for the kills on the Jacksons. Somehow the Jackson managed to survive that. One Jackson down. Tiger, Vet 3, going for the second Jackson. Needs a little bit of support. We still have the 2 Pioneers, so actually it is possible for the Tiger to
25 points.
be repaired. Jesulin has to get on top of the VPs. 25 remaining. It's actually all or nothing. I think Jesulin's going to have to push through, and he's decided to. All we need to see is bounces. That is the power of the Vet 3 Tiger. Such a shame that Jesulin doesn't have more of his army around to support this. With 10 VPs remaining though, Jesulin needs to dive on top of the VPs. He's not doing it. Why is he not doing it?
I fear we are losing. With 10 points remaining.
I think he's just got the notification that VPs are dropping. Has to be made now. I don't even think that there's enough time now to decap.
Pioneers ready for assignment.
Jove's making his way to the left VP. There's no way Jesulin's going to win this now. There may have been a slither of a chance. Jesulin just threw it away. I'm sure. If he holds on to this right now, it would be
Losing a sector.
It would be too tense. But no, I'm pretty sure that's it. There's going to be one VP owned by Jove. That's it. GG. It is now 2-1 to Jove in this series.
Half-track has a... Officers can now be called into